Good morning, everybody, or whatever time you might be viewing this. At this end, it is indeed early Saturday morning, November 6th. The sun is just coming up. My voice is not yet ready for the day, but I'm going to do a post anyway. So it's been a full week since we last met. So let's get right to this. As I look down at the list of things I want to talk about today, a lot going on. I guess when you don't babble for a week, things tend to pile up. First of all, always a good thing to start with thank yous. My sincere and heartfelt thank you to Barry Greenstein, who spent some time with me between sessions at last week's World Poker Finals. Again, if you don't know who Barry is, he is one of the great ambassadors to poker. He is a gentleman. He is one of the best cash players in the world. He's often shown playing the high-stakes games on the TV efforts, Poker After Dark or High Stakes Poker, and gives all of his tournament winnings to charity, which is amounted in the millions. And so it was really an honor to speak with him. I appreciated the picture that he took with me, and I've certainly tried to model a lot of what I'm doing on the public side of the trading industry to what he has done. And I know that there's a lot more we can do and a lot more I'm planning on doing. So, again, just a very heartfelt thank you to Barry. I really enjoyed that. We certainly know that poker and trading are very, very similar in nature in terms of skill and technique. The industries are also, though, very similar in terms that there are corners of both industries which are very, very dangerous, very, very difficult to address or deal with. Things like addiction, things like ego-driven type efforts, things that are overly marketed, that sort of thing. And so as we get ready to launch Trading After Dark, I'm very well aware of both the good and the bad that goes along with that. So again, both industries very similar in nature. Again, thank you to a very, very kind gentleman. Also, speaking of thank yous, thank you to those of you that have indeed donated to the growuganda.org effort. As I mentioned last week, it is an effort that I have added to the list of charities that the Jellies are going to be contributing to. Any money I get from the educational videos, for example, a portion of that will go to growuganda.org for a bit. I'm also going to make a commitment that anybody who's interested in signing up for those webinar videos over the next period of time, really 3 weeks between now and when that mission effort gets going, I'm going to donate 50%, half, to growuganda.org. And so if you're looking for formal education, I'm very proud of that effort that we put together. It's a recording of the evening sessions of the first Jelly Beta team, 8 weeks, 2 hours each, 16 total hours, both formal lecture as well as recapping discussions and market opportunities and live trading that we experienced the prior week. Each Monday we got together and we beat them into the ground again. So I'm not here to hype that. I'm here to let you know that they remain available. They remain very well received by the industry. They're priced at a 25% discount to what I've been asked to charge them for, and on top of that, I'm going to give half to charity. If that's not a win-win all around, then I don't know what is. So again, if you're interested there. Anyway, back to growuganda.org. As I mentioned last week, it's an effort that I think we can do a lot of good with a small amount of dollars. So I don't care whether it's $25, $50, $100, $500. You know, if you feel that you've ever benefited from anything that I've done over the past 10 years, but certainly the last couple of years of blogging, please consider, and if you're not interested in educational materials, don't give me the money. Please give it to growuganda.org. It's run by two very dear friends of mine, John and Sherry Norquay. Sherry, by the way, is in the process of doing some recording of some Christian music, and if you're interested in listening to just a sample of what she has, you can go to the very modest site called growthekingdom.org, and there's 2 songs that have been placed that have been professionally recorded, and she simply has an incredible voice. A bit of a problem with the media player this morning. If you get starts and stops when you go on there, just check back. But again, thank you to those of you that have done that. What else do I have to talk about? Lots. Lots. Trading After Dark preparations certainly continue at this end. I am proceeding carefully and cautiously to make sure that it's done right. I am getting very close to being ready to get that going. The planning continues. There has been many tweaks along the way. The minute I think I'm pleased with how it's going to be presented, I get into a situation where I think that there's a better way to do it, or that there is a potential danger in cherry picking that if we go on a sequence by sequence basis. And I'm trying to capture a larger period of time, the whole week, if you will. So, I'm balancing the pros and cons. I've updated the statistics package a bit again, and so all I can say is please be patient. When it is done, it will be done right, with the right reasons, with the right motives, and with the right outcome in terms of the points that I'm trying to get across. By the way, it will be recorded live. I'm not going to be picking a good week or a bad week, or it just will be the time that it is. So we're getting very, very close to releasing that, and I'm very excited about that. What else? I have gotten a bit of mail lately in terms of, and I get this from time to time in terms of basically telling me what I should be talking about and what I should be blogging about. And I guess, excuse me, I'd kind of like to remind everybody what this has always been about. When I went back into the public life, if you will, in the trading industry a few years ago, after I took my hiatus to focus on my fund, I did so because I thought it would be helpful to do things in a way that typically was not done in this industry. I don't do expos, or rarely do expos. I did the February one in New York as a favor to my broker Pat Lafferty at MF Global, but I don't do expos typically. I'm not doing the upcoming shows on the West Coast. I don't write books, and I rarely grant interviews. So I continue to have the notion that I can get my point across to whoever's interested in listening or viewing via the blog. It beats a book, because a book, one danger of a book is it can get outdated fairly quickly, as opposed to this blog where I can keep it current for basically a perpetual basis as long as I have energy to do this and interest. But it certainly is a time to revisit. So anyway, back to these emails that have talked about, you shouldn't talk about, your personal life. You shouldn't talk about your spiritual life. You shouldn't, do this and do that. And I know that there's a small corner of this industry that still, questions what I do, why I do it, and the fact that anyone who decides to charge for any kind of education is viewed as a scam artist, just like, I guess apparently everybody who played baseball in the last, decade took steroids. Well, if you want to lump me in with that crowd, great. It's wrong. It's a lie, but, so be it. Anyway, back to this point about, gee, you should write about this and shouldn't write about this or talk about this. This is who I am, folks. And as the exposure to this site has continued to grow, I become only more keenly aware of the responsibility that I think I have. And so everything that we're doing, for example, the Trading After Dark effort and the charity efforts, it's just going to be done right. But it's who I am. If I were to go back to, the intent of this blog, and if I had to just throw some names out there, or descriptions out there in terms of how I would describe the intent of this, it would be things like personal, candid, balanced, innovative, helpful. And it's still my diary. So, I'm going to continue to babble about, what I want to babble about. One of the areas that I try to talk about from time to time without preaching or without coming across as being overly and evangelical is the spiritual side of my life. I am a Christian. I, as many of you know, went on a spiritual renewal journey about 6 months ago, called The Road to Emmaus. And my wife is actually going through that right now, which is one of the reasons I have not been posting over the past couple of days. If you were at all interested in renewing your spiritual journey, I highly recommend that. I also highly recommend something that we're involved with at this end in our local church, which is called the Alpha Project, which you can certainly Google to find out more information about that. You know, as much as I realize that this is by you know, by far a trading site, it will be more important to me, frankly, if it impacts one person's life, just one person's life spiritually, versus 1,000 traders from a financial perspective. And you know, that may turn some of you off. You know, you may have your own beliefs, which I certainly respect. But I'm not going to be politically correct in terms of not sharing what I know is to be true. And you know, that's just the way it is. And I try to have that come across in everything that I do, everything that I say, everything that I've done. Have I done it perfectly? Of course not. Have I made mistakes along the way in terms of blogging and publicly speaking and trading? Absolutely. Probably too many to count. But the intent will always be there. So I will use opportunities from time to time to share with you my my process, my journey, both as a trader and as a Christian. And I would, you know, I'd love to have a completely side discussion on that someday. So, you know, please understand what this is about, and you know, what's important to me. And that's really the way that this blog has been built, and it has been from day one. It will continue to be that. You know, for those that want to question my motives and intent and all that sort of thing, I respect that. Everyone has their own opinion, but again, I know what is to be true, and don't need to be convinced otherwise. And I'm sure I'll get some mail saying, "What kind of a post was this today?" You know, that's too bad. As I've told people, if you don't like the content, change the channel. I'm not after hits. I don't do advertising on this site. I'm not after site hits. So, you know, so be it. Anyway, what's going on in the trading world? Interesting times, I guess, in terms of market rhythms. So great FOMC action on Wednesday. The closing trend at the end of Wednesday, the continuation of the trend into Thursday, and the MATD on Friday. And you cannot have a better trading environment than that in terms of sustained volatility, finally breaking out of some of these low ADXs in the larger time frames, and it's certainly our job to adjust to that. I had a great discussion, a phone call with a trader last night that we're looking for some help, and I'll leave you with this thought, I guess, for the day. I told him a lot, but I told him, you know, most importantly that you know, he was wondering why I kept drawing down every now and then, and it seemed that he had one particular style, and he wasn't adapting his style. You adapt your style to the market. You adapt your style to the market rhythm and play. If it's, you know, a trend day, you trade as a trend day. If it's a day after, you trade it like the day after, and you continue to morph yourself and be adaptable, and that's what it's all about. And you continue to do the two things that 99% of the traders that I've talked to won't do. I've talked to thousands and thousands of traders. I can still count on one hand the number of people that when I ask them, do they ever think about the trader on the other side of their trade? The answer is no. You know, and that's why that they will be in the 99% or whatever that large percentage is of traders that fail. You always think about the trade on the other side of your trade when you're putting a position on. That, as well as adding to your position, which again few people do. So I'll leave you with that thought. There was some interesting dialogue and comments back and forth on the question of whether futures trading is a zero-sum game. And as I said, you can vent all you want. You can stare at a blue wall until you're blue in the face and call it red. But it's still a blue wall. Futures trading is a zero-sum game. It always has been. It always will be. And for every winner, there is a loser, and there's also slippage in terms of commission costs and that sort of thing. So for those that may disagree, I would ask you to look at the color of the wall once again. Those are some thoughts on a weekend. Again, thanks for putting up with me over the years, and I'll continue to do what I do, right, wrong, or indifferent. So God bless you. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Take care.